passed, I was so happy. Like, you can't imagine the joy for passing ATS one. I remember I got a suit as a gift, and I remember that suit. I still held that suit till recently that I gave it out. Then I wrote ATS two, thinking I had passed ATS one. I was going to pass ATS two, and ATS two showed me, permitted me to use this word, premium shaggy. Right? I filled all the papers. I didn't even pass one. Like, I was so devastated that I said, no, no, no. This was like 2016, 8 years, 9 years ago. I was like, I'm not doing this. Let me focus on my academics, and I didn't write CS again. So the journey of ICAN started next year to make it 10 years ago, technically, right? But I didn't talk about it. But I actually started from 8 years. I passed 8 years one, but I didn't pass 8 years two. Then I left. Then I came back. Then I was to write ICAN in 2019, May 2019. I had paid somebody to write I had registered and I paid somebody. The person took the money, did not pay for the exam. That was in May 2019. And we had prepared. The person took the money, he didn't pay for the exam, so I couldn't write. So I started in November 2019. I had written 4 courses: FR, PM, PSAP, and CSME. And the diet was a new diet that was just implemented, like we have now, for this new diet in 2025. So I started in 2019, right? And at the time, I felt that I could easily finish because, what's there is exam. It's an ICAN exam. It's there. I mean, you can easily pass. What's there is school. Finish in school, so you can write exam and pass, right? So I wrote the exam, and out of 4 papers, I had passed to 2019, and I passed FR at one sitting and CSM, but I did not pass PM and PSAP. I would eventually write PM twice and PSAP 3 times before I entered 2021. In 2021 was when things just went haywire, and I didn't pass for 2 straight years, right? So that was like my ICAN journey. In total, I made 26 attempts in ICAN across 12 diets. 26 attempts, right? 2019 to 2025, 26 attempts. There were 12 diets in those attempts. 12 diets, 6 years, 26 attempts. Now, in these 12 diets, there were 12 diets. I never missed any diet. I wrote all diets consecutively except November 2023 because I had failed too much and the failure messed with my mind, right? So I was really scared that I cannot be feeling like this. I remember my mom was so angry. Just write the exam. You don't worry. Don't I say I know the right to. I'm not writing. That was November 2023, and I didn't write. So my ICAN journey has been a journey of highs and lows, a lot of lows. So I would say that it's been very eventful, very challenging. But I'm able to speak to you today because I overcame, and I believe that within the few minutes I have, that you'll be able to overcome, right? So I want you to pay very rapt attention to some of the points that I will share based on my journey. So I'll say my journey has been full of high and lows, but I'm here today because I decided one thing, that if I do not quit, I want you, if you can't take anything from this meeting, just remember one thing, that if you don't quit, you cannot lose, right? As far as you say that this thing I will surmount you can't lose. As far as you stay alive, you stay charged up, you cannot lose a battle that you do not quit. It might sound cliche, but think about it very deeply. If you do not quit, you cannot lose. So that's why I'm here today, because I did not quit. So
let me expand that. He had 26 failed attempts. He sat for 12 diets, 11 consecutive diets, except just one that he didn't write. 6 years. He failed FR, CR, CSME once, PM twice, PSAV and advanced audit 3 times, SFM 4 times, advanced taxation 5 times, case study 6 times, and yet today is a qualified accountant. Owen, did you pass anyone in first sitting? Which ones were the ones you passed that first sitting?
I passed FR first sitting. I passed CSME first sitting.
Okay, and CSME, okay, and CR.
And CR, those were the 3. So FR and CR are related, right? So I passed one sitting and sitting. Those were the only courses I passed.
in first sitting.
One sitting.
So the real problem now is if, or let me rephrase that. The same brain that helped you, or the same brain that you used that you used to pass FR, CL, CSME at first sitting, that same brain is still available or was still available, but yet you failed PM, you failed the other ones, at first sitting. Can you tell us what exactly was going on? Just tell us. We want to know what was going on. How did that even happen? Because if you had passed something and then you failed others, what was going on really with you?
Okay, that's a very, very great question. So I have done a video. I may not be able to give all the points. I did a 20 minutes video, right? It's on YouTube. I think I'll drop the link now. I'll drop the link when I'm done, right? But I did a 20 minutes video to explain my journey and explain why, after evaluating myself, why I spent this long writing an exam, right? So the same brain that passed those courses one sitting could have passed every the other things, but I spent multiple times. So the first point I would have said is my mindset. Like you can say it that way, right? That the same brain passed one sitting, but your mind. So our mind has a wrong programming. So the number one reason why I spent this long was mindset. Mindset is everything. So your mind doesn't see that you passed one exam, that you pass one and one sitting, you pass another one. What your mind sees is that you failed a paper, and that you're
Mm.
not accurate enough. Your mind doesn't see that you passed another exam. Your mind does not even see that you graduated from the university, first of all. And because you graduated, you have passed a hurdle to be qualified to write this exam, that you're exempted from foundation at my time. Newer graduates are even exempted from skills because the institute feels that they have sufficient knowledge to be able to tackle the skills level, so they don't need to write it. You can go straight to professional. Your mind doesn't see that. Your mind sees what you don't have, right? Your mind sees your inadequacies. Your mind sees that you're not good enough, even when the proof provides otherwise, even when the proof shows otherwise, right? So, I mean, you will hear people, even in this last life, someone will say, I failed the exam. They wrote three papers, they passed two, but they failed the exam to them because they didn't pass. They were not qualified. But what they did not see that they've reduced the workload and they have one paper left. So that mindset was very damaging to me, saying that because I didn't pass the other paper, I felt I was not good, and it demoralized me. So I would say number one was my mindset, a wrong mindset, not seeing that if you fail an exam, like young students always say, if I fail, they say I failed, ICAN gave me, or the lecturer failed me. When you fail, it's the lecturer's fault. It's not your fault. It's the lecturer's fault. It's something external. It's not you. So having that mindset that number one, that you are not making progress, even when you've made progress, having that mindset that the exam is difficult, or even having a mindset that the exam is too easy, what is there? Overconfidence. That is also overconfidence and lack of confidence are very bad things. So initially, I think I was overconfident. Okay, I didn't put in the required effort because the exam requires energy, requires your time. You need to, so you could be a lecturer could be teaching, and you think you understand what the lecturer is saying. You think what the lecturer is saying is what you are hearing until you go and write the exam. Then you realize that you really did not know anything. You assumed it, but you never took time to actually internalize the concept, understand the concept. Because it's not like school where you can get AOC. They'll tell you read this area. ICAN is very fast. They don't give AOC. You have to read it and understand the concept. People cram and pass, they get lucky, but it's better to understand the concept and go and write. But you assume that you know it, and in the exam hall, your assumption will show your shallowness or your lack of preparation will be revealed when you go and write the exam. So you might see a question for the first time that you should have seen in the study, in your personal study, taking time to understand the concept, reaching out to your lecturer, but you did not know until the exam day. So number one reason is your mindset. It's not about third class. It's not like whether even if the third class in school, a 2-2, a 2-1, a first class is irrelevant. Number one is your mindset. Do you believe that you have what it takes to pass the exam? And do you believe that your mind is able to, that you deserve good things, that you can put in the required effort? And if you put in the required effort, you will get the required results. That's the first thing is your mindset, not It is not an external thing. It is not, you don't have village people pursuing you, right? There's nobody sitting on your matter in the village that has put your academic destiny inside a mortar and is pounding it and say, this brother, you will not pass. This sister, you will not pass. No. Number one is the mindset. See, if you can get what I'm saying, trust me, your life will experience a massive shift. If you can realize that your mind is the first thing, you know, Napoleon, he wrote a book, said, think and grow rich. You can't, how do you think and grow rich? They'll say you should hustle, but he said, no, you think and grow rich. It starts from the mind. Everything we see here is a product of the mind. So number one, I would say is mindset. Number two, I would say, which builds up on my first point, is inadequate preparation. It will amaze you to know, I covered that in my video. In November 2021, I went to write an exam. And it was in the exam hall, Dr. Motala, that I realized that they changed syllabus in SFM. The question was 7 to answer 5. And it's seven. Typically, ICAN is 7 to answer 5. But that year, ICAN they tried to experiment and did 6 to answer 4. Number 1 became 40 marks. It was in the exam hall. I want everybody to listen. It's in the exam hall that I realized that it was 6 answer 4. You can imagine how ridiculous that is. That's such an unserious behavior from any unacceptable for an exam that you paid for to behave in such. I didn't even know, and they're saying so the question is, before an exam, the exam is 4 months. You have typical 3 or 4 months to prepare. What will I do in those 3-4 months? What were they saying? The lecturers would have emphasized that this thing was changed. What was I hearing? What was I doing? Right? Inadequate preparation. You don't read after your classes. You don't make time to read every week. You don't have a structure. You don't have a reading plan. You don't have a reading timetable. You don't ask questions. You're not studying. You're not solving past questions. My brother, failure is guaranteed for you. You are guaranteed of failure, right? If you do SFM, because like SFM, people will be asking you what's beta assets a day to exam. They're asking you what's beta, like what's beta, like they're going to write SFM. You're asking what is ungeared, what is gearing a day to exam. Like I remember November 2024 when I wrote SFM. After I've broken that jinx of failure in the exam hall, I was looking for cost of capital. I was like, wait, how do you even get? I was overwhelmed, right? I was overwhelmed in that because I wrote tax, SFM, and case study. I passed the 2. I didn't pass SFM at that day. So I was looking for where's cost of capital. I was looking for where's business valuation. I didn't even know what to do. My mind, remember, I'm building. The first point was mindset. The second point was inadequate preparation. A point builds on the other, right? So my mind was overwhelmed, right? And I genuinely felt that I could not pass the exam. To show you how I felt I could not pass the exam, my colleague who later passed, she sent me a message thanking me. I can't did a post about your body that helps you and I was there for you. A few minutes before the exam, I called her that, how are you doing? Because we're classmates in the university and she had passed SFM. She had passed 4 papers, but SFM held her down for 2 straight years. So she had not passed SFM. It was been a long time. And I called her, how are you doing? She was shocked to hear my call because I hadn't called her in a while. She was shocked to receive the call from us. Calling her, how are you doing? How's everything? Have you written SFM? Like I was going to write exam on that day. So in my mind, I already knew I was going to fail this exam. But me and her will write next the following diet and we'll pass together. So you can imagine, right? In the exam, when they gave me the paper, I didn't even know. I didn't know any single question. I was like, what is it saying? And that's me. And trust me, there were many people that were in that situation. Typically, ICAN students will always tell you, we don't know where ICAN brought the questions from. We don't know where ICAN brought the questions from. Inadequate preparation, right? ICAN, for example, a course like SFM, I realized in ICAN my best paper was SFM. I really loved I enjoyed this. SFM is a very sweet course. Even if I didn't write it, I wrote it 4 times and I wrote FR and SR once, but SFM was eventually my best course, right? A course like SFM, right? There's no ICAN exam in SFM, whether the new or old syllabus, without valuation. They bring valuation every day. It might not come out directly, it might come out indirectly, or it is inside measure and acquisition, it's inside something. Well, guess what? I went to write November 2024 without knowing business valuation. I looked at it, I watched videos, my notes were full, but it did not settle. It was not internalized. You did not go, you did not test. You didn't prove what you claimed you knew. Right? You were assuming that you knew something, but you did not know it. Right? That was my problem at the time for SFM. And I was inadequately prepared. And like I said, failure is guaranteed. So that's what happened. So the day I finally passed, I realized that SFM had I wrote it, not it was I wrote it. I did like all past questions. I look at this topic. I discovered that in the last 12 diets, they brought this thing every diet. And 7 times, you can see I'm calling numbers, I'm calling metrics. You can see the clarity of thought. 7 times it came out as number one in 12 diets. 7 times. But people will still go and say they don't know where ICAN brought the eggs. They don't know where ICAN brought their questions from. Right? So it shows you the student behavior, inadequate preparation, mindset. Number 3 is morning period. Now, some people might be fresh out of school. This might not apply to them. If you fail an exam twice, it's devastating. It's devastating. When you fail an exam, because do you know why? You have not only lost time, you've also paid money. Mind you, in the last 6 years, I only attended weddings 3 times and five, or not to 5 times. I got invitations, but I did not attend. Can you hear me?
Well, clear.
Yeah, why? Because I did not attend because you'll be in class. You'll be in class and you can't go for weddings on Saturdays. And people have invited you, you can't come. You can't you because once you come, you think you've missed one class, but you've missed a chain, a long thing. It's not one class you've missed, but you deceive yourself. Don't worry, I'll go and watch the recording. As at 2019, there was nothing like when I started writing ICAN, there was nothing like recording. It was COVID that brought I'm actually I'm really old in this thing. It was after COVID that recording and all these things became mainstream. It did not exist. If you miss class, you miss class. You have to go and copy somebody's notes to understand what you missed. So you now deceive yourself, don't worry, I'll watch recording. So when you fail an exam, it's devastating. Now, exam came out last week. I think it was 26th or 27th of June. Exam came out last week. What you are supposed to do is that after 1 week, feel bad. Don't even touch it. Don't do anything. Just go and buy ice cream. Do something nice. After 1 week, go back to class. But you see, students will not go back to class. They will feel so bad. They will use the whole July to feel bad. This July now, they will feel very bad. Me, that's how I did. I thought I would feel very bad. I was still going to class, so but my mind was not in what the lecturer was teaching. My mind is like, how am I coming here again? How am I coming here again? Right? You can see my points are building on each other. Right? Still goes back to mindset. So you will spend very long before you know it. Today is July 5th. Before you know it, we're in August, and you've not passed. We're in August, and you have 2 or 3 months to the exam. Then you might, if you are working or you're in school, things are piling up for you. You are working, you're already in August, things are getting busy. September, October, before you know it, you are 1 week to exam. You are 1 week to exam, or you're a month to exam. 1 month to exam, people will not carry their books because they've spent so long agonizing. It's called the agony of defeat. They spent so long feeling downcast about the number of times that they wrote an exam and failed, feeling that I can't even know what they were doing. And and that thing has a ripple effect. It follows you throughout, and you end up failing the exam because you spend so long feeling sorry for yourself. In the Bible says David encouraged himself in the Lord, right? Um, I don't know if all Christians say, but it's fine. It's an example. David encouraged himself in the Lord, right? There were times in David's life that his own son rebelled against him, right? His own kingdom was split. See, there was time in David's life that he had to act like a madman to save himself from the death at the hands of Saul. From death at the hands of Saul. His own son rebelled against his kingdom. Rebelled against him. David went through a lot of battles. He kept on fighting till he died. He kept on fighting till he died. But despite everything, he encouraged himself. So people spend so much time mourning and they don't realize that there's light at the end of the tunnel. I will not be here today if I decided to languish in self-pity. So you have to move on. And now that morning I talked about, it affected me in May 2023. I paid for exam, take study and tax. Some days to the exam, I said, I'm not writing the paper. My friend Mohammed came to my house. He said, oh, when go and write this exam. He said, don't worry, I can just try. You don't know which one. I said, guy, if I write this exam, I will fail. He did everything possible, but I did not agree to write the exam. And I can't even call me that. What happened? Like, why are you not writing this? What happened? Why did you miss this? And I told them that I am tired of you people. But like you're
Okay.
almost there. Mind you, at that time,
Alright.
passed any paper since May 2021 for 2 straight years. 2 straight years. 2 years of somebody's like that's half of you have a 4-year course, half of time you spend in school. I had no passing. I said I know this. So I said I'll write only case study. I still failed the case study that I said I will face. I still failed the case study. So that was mindset, inadequate preparation, and you spend too long money. Number 4 is missing classes, right? Sorry, how many minutes do I have left?
Go ahead. Wait,
Number 4
go
is
ahead, please.
number 4 is number 4, which now comes out from inadequate preparation, is missing classes. See, in life, now beyond an ICAN exam, you need to be humble in life. When you don't see results, the Bible says, if any man lacks wisdom, let him ask to God who giveth freely without upbraiding. Right? When you don't see results, always, I went to Covenant University, and our chancellor will always say that if like when you don't see things working, you are the one at fault. Like even if you feel that you are not the one at fault, tell yourself if this is not working, it's my fault, and I me get problem. Papa me to go switch. You are the one at fault, right? So people now start to miss classes. Everything stems from each other. Missing classes, you begin to miss class. Why? Because you felt that you've done it before. You failed because I can felt like giving you that score, not because they gave you. It's not that score is not your own. Begin to miss classes. Some people tell you that they will read on their own. They wish they will never read until 1 week to exam. They'll begin to do intensive. They want to do intensive. So you miss your classes. You don't attend classes, right? You don't do assignments. Well, me, I never did assignments. I didn't like doing assignments anyway. So, but I wish I did assignments. Maybe I would have been scoring
You
80
did it.
something. Well, I didn't like doing that.
Definitely. Definitely.
I didn't like doing assignments. But
Definitely.
assignments is very powerful because it validates what you claim you know or you don't know. You think you know something. When you do an assignment, you can ask. So the assignments I did not do, when it's close to exam, I'll start disturbing the lecturer. I'll be calling him. He says, they will not have your time because different people are now calling them and asking them what is IS is, what's like that kind of exam tension. What is beta assets? What is beta equity? What this tax law? What is capital gains tax? Group. How do you do this? CSME. How do you do value chain? Everyone just becomes scared. So in not attending classes, skipping classes because you want to self-read is the see. If you try that, you are most likely to fail. It's a very dangerous thing to do. Attend a class, attend a center. If you cannot attend a class, if people that tell me they want to attend class, I have requirements on spoken laws. I will say you must have finished the first class in school, which is not even enough. Because it does not work every day. Because first class students don't still pass ICAN. In my the first class in school, I must say that you are very intelligent you have a track record of identifying things that I'll say, okay, don't worry, you can read on your own. People will tell you they read on their own, but the question is, those are outliers. You do not build principles or laws based on outliers. Write that down. You do not build principles or laws from outliers. Because somebody wrote an exam by self-reading does not mean if you do it, you will pass. It doesn't work that way. If you want to pass a professional exam, you must be taught and guided by an institution like Scepter Bridge to guide you. They will tell you, this is what you're supposed to do. These are common pitfalls to add. But people will say no. They won't want to attend. So don't miss classes, don't skip classes, do your assignments. Some centers do mock, they will send you mock. I never did all those things. I'm just letting you know, right? I didn't do all those things. I didn't believe in doing it. My lecturer then will say that he will see if in the exam we will start checking our notes to see how it is solved. He will say, I laugh in Swahili to see what you will do in the exam. Because he will give assignment. Nobody will do assignment. He will give mock exam. Nobody will for the last paper, only one person did the mock. So his spirit was broken. Because because you're supposed to see what you can do, but they didn't do mock, you did not attend class, you skip class, then you think that you can make it, and you don't make it at the end, right? So how many points have I listed? Can I get in the comment section? What was number 1, number 2? What are the points that I have listed so far?
Comment. Get to the comment section, yeah. Let's prove that we're listening. Right to the point. You can even put it on the group so that people that haven't joined will join. We have 23 persons on the call already. Praise the Lord. Yes, yes, yes. I see. Yes, Jennifer, don't skip classes. Very important. Yes. Busola says 4 points. Yes. Don't. Yes.
Mindset.
Bad mindset. Yes. Bad mindset. Yes. I don't know if Konita is ready for us. Konita, if you're ready, let me know. Morning period, elongating
Yes,
it.
I am.
Oh, thank you.
I'm here.
All right, inadequate preparation. Don't dwell too long on failure. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right,
So
is there any
now
other one in terms of the points before we'll come back to you? But any other points you want us to have?
over no confidence.
Overconfidence. Owen?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Yes. Yes, overconfidence. Yes. So there were other points. I'll drop the link to the video that I did explaining all of this, right? So you could go to my channel and watch it, and I share deeper insights there, right? So the final point I would say also something interesting happened the last exam. Another thing is that don't be this is a side point, just a side note. Don't be intimidated by anybody. There are people in class, they'll be asking questions. It looks, I don't know, man, you may have experienced this thing. They do this kind of people that they ask questions. But when you're not following, you think that they know what they are doing. But the question they are asking, if they listen to what the lecturer was saying, they will not ask that question. So you think that they know what they're doing, but they actually don't know what they're doing. So don't be intimidated by anybody. So there's something that happened last day before the exam. Somebody came to come and meet me. Do you know ratio? They will bring ratio. Go and read ratio. Go and do this. Go and do that. And this kind of stuff. And because I have experience, I did not bother listening to anybody and focused on what I know. So don't be overly distracted by your peers, by another person. Don't be intimidated by anybody. Focus on yourself and what you can do. Strive to be the best, right? So those people that were telling this kind of thing, at the end, when the result came, someone did not pass. They'll start telling before exam, they'll say, hey, this is this, this is that. They'll say, go and read this thing. It's coming out that page 900 and something in the back, page 300. So they'll just have to put their fears inside of you. So don't listen, focus, follow your lecturer. They will tell you there are core topics you must know. Solve those things, know those things, do your best, and leave the rest to God. Don't start trying to, because that thing can bring tension to the exam and you forget what you're supposed to do. So there's one other thing that they're self-intelligent. When the results came, some of my friends that I was telling my friend, I can't believe I scored higher than her. But she looked very smart. It was giving me point. They say, oh, well, do you know this? I don't know it. I don't know it. I don't know. The one I know is what they taught us in class. What is I saw is what I know. You understand? So don't allow those things to deceive you that you're not making progress. That's a side point, right? Don't be intimidated by anybody. And in addition to, I'll say this and I'll say my final point. In addition to preparation, have a reading partner. Have a reading partner. Have some, particularly if you're like me that has failed before. Gather. So I started doing this. I gather people, and I'm even doing something around that line. Gather people to start help them with a reading plan. We read together. We taught each other. We met, and we the others did that thing. We passed the exam. Have a reading partner. The journey is a lonely, very lonely road. So bring people along with you that will stand with you, because again to the Bible, when Elijah was alone in his life, he told God that he was the only prophet, and God told him that he has other prophets that will not bow to the image of Baal. I think it's 70 of them, 70 other prophets that will not take a bow to Baal, right? So don't do it alone. Have reading partners, right? Have a reading partner. Do it with them, and yeah, and don't be intimidated by anybody. And a point I will say that the final point I will say is trust God. See, trust in the favor of God. God can help you, right? God can help you. So I used to believe that when it comes to academics, just read your book. Yeah, read your books, leave God alone. I mean, I believed in school that God, but in the real life, like, no, just focus. And my mother always tell me that. You see, I'm calling my mother, I'm calling this person, I'm calling him. Those are support systems. Have a support system. Have people that encourage you. Have people that motivate you. You yourself motivate people. Life is not all about you. Call people, encourage them, speak words of life over them. Tell them that I believe in you, you will pass the exam. But I think people were messed up. They messed up, telling me, well, leave this exam alone. Go and do something else with your life. I said, no, I must finish this exam. She's like, guy, just leave this exam alone. My dad was like, leave this exam alone. Everybody people were like, guy, you understand? But the moment I passed, my friends, that people that were like, they're not doing, they say, they're coming back, they're coming back, they're coming back, right? When they heard that I passed, and people will salute. That's how life is. Most times they won't believe in you at the beginning, but if you forge ahead, you will see results, right? So support system, have people that believe in you and commit it to God. I don't really say God, but this time around, I took it very seriously. I prayed, I fasted, I said, God, please, you have to help me in this exam. And there was a last night, I slept. I was reading, but one night I slept, and God showed me the number one question in audit, advanced audit, 30 marks. I saw the number one question live and direct. I saw it in a dream. The night, in fact, it was the morning of the exam because audit was in the afternoon. I saw it that day, and I went to God. Just imagine, God can help you. There's such a thing as the favor of God. So don't rule God out of your affairs. Like I said, you have the human support system. You have people that encourage you, but let God be on your side. Trust me, you can imagine how much money I've spent in the last 5 years, 6 years, writing this exam. You've lost money, lost time. The time I've lost cannot be given back to me, but God can restore time. So don't look at yourself and see that, oh, you've not done this, you've not done, your mates are this, your mates are here, your mates are not there. No. Just go, let him help you, right? Let God help you and know that with God on your side, nothing or nobody can stop you, no matter the opposition. So I did a longer video where I've explained 20 minutes video, I've explained something that I may have missed out, but I was able to explain, give a deeper. I'll drop the link in the stuff in the
chat.
Yes, and if you have questions, you can connect with me on LinkedIn, right? I've dropped my LinkedIn handle. I want to thank Dr.
Yes, Owen, it's over. You're not going yet. Just calm down. All right. So I'm going to get Konita now. But before Konita comes up, I want us to reflect deeply in what Owen said. God can restore time. This is speaking to somebody that has written this exam. You've failed once, at least once. Just believe that God can restore time. There's a spirit in man, and the inspiration of the Almighty giveth understanding. See, I'm an academic. I deal with academic things. I deal with books for a living. And I can tell you for sure, the only way to be able to do all of these things and not running mad, and you are sane and you are fine, you are succeeding, every step you take is a success. I'm telling you, the secret behind any of my success in this academic journey is God. Books are not the most interesting thing to do as a job, right? But it takes God. ICAN is book. You have to read, you have to study. But without God, this thing's going to be hard. So God can restore time. You might have lost 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, I don't care. No matter how long you've lost, God will definitely restore time. All right, so Konita, we're getting to you now. Can you give us a little background, just a very quick background on your hiking journey? A very quick one. Yeah.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Sorry for the
evening.
disconnection. Yes, my internet, but I'm back. So my ICAN journey, I graduated in 2023. So this means that I started, like I was a student as of 2019. I was in my 100 level. I was in accounting department, fresh out of secondary school, right? So by the time I was in my 200 level, I made the decision I was going to start ICAN. I was going to go down the ATS route, and I was going to start that journey, right? So
Konita, you're breaking. You're breaking. Oh my God, she's breaking. Konita, you're breaking. Do you want to leave and reconnect again? Your network. Konita, just leave and connect again. All right. Leave and connect again. All right. So maybe we'll just get back to Owen. Owen.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
You told us what not to do. Told us all of that. Don't be overconfident. Don't underprepare. Don't be intimidated. Can you tell us what to do that will change the game? What can we do aside what you've said that can change the game?
Okay. Number one, remember why you started. Why are you writing ICAN?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you want to be a chartered accountant? Like the why of a thing, right? You would always go back to the why of a problem, why you started something, why you wanted to be an accountant. So number one reason is ask yourself, do I really want to be an accountant? Or do you really want to be a chartered accountant? Do you really want to have the certification? Why? Maybe for your personal brand, for your own personal business. So you need to go back to the why. It looks very simple, but trust me, it's very important. Very, very important. Why? Why are you doing this thing? Because when you know the why, if you experience knocks, hard knocks, school of hard knocks, right, you would still be able to forge ahead because your why is in check, right? So one thing about failure, that failure clouds your mind and you are able to forget. You forget why you have this in the first place. That's why you ask people, say, do you know what, I'm going to go and do masters, or I'm going to go and write another. I don't want to call it names. I'm not trying to throw jobs at anybody. They want to go and write an application, right? So that they perceive as easier to pass. Number one is your why. Number two, I call a principle settle. Settle. SETTLE, settle. That was I call that principle. It's a principle that read to remember, right? Read to understand. So I remember when I wrote tax in May 2025, I failed, right? Then when I wrote the exam in November again, I realized why I failed. Because the principles did not settle in properly. I didn't have an understanding. So when you read, ensure that you really understand why, the why of the course. Why, if in advanced tax, for example, if you are doing PPT and you have barrels in a foreign currency and you are dealing in Nigeria, it should be in Naira. Why you're supposed to convert, right? The things that are omitted when you are doing those deductions. Understand the why, understand the laws, right? And those were things that I skipped, right? So let's it settle inside, right? That when you go to an exam hall, when you go to an exam hall, you understand the principle, you understand the concept, that no matter how they twist it, it has settled inside. So what happens is that because of the second point I made about inadequate preparation, people go and write exams and they didn't, ICANN is supposed to be 3 or 4 months to prepare, but people use 1 week to prepare for an exam that the institute designed in a way that should last for 3 to 4 months or 4 months. They use 1 week. So those principles are supposed to be learned over time and not overnight. So ensure that you really, this principle set. A ridiculous thing that people do is that they don't understand the concept. They start solving past question. You cannot be solving past question on an empty mind when you don't understand why this thing is doing. You don't know how to get from. I was a science student, so I remember who remembers this formula? The formula that before all might change your formula. That's S squared minus B squared. There's a formula that you use and derive to get almighty formula, right?
Quadratic.
Sorry? Sorry?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so you use that formula to get the almighty formula. So if you understand that formula, you understand the principle, you do change of difference of 2 square and the rest of this. From there, you can derive a whole thing and get to s equals to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. You'd have known the formula from first principles. First principles. But what you have is that you have people that don't understand the principles. So what they want is magic, and they're asking God to bless their magic because they don't understand. So allow principles to settle properly, right? Number 3 will now be to solve past questions. You don't solve past questions from nothing because you've solved questions, because you've understood the concept, right? It has settled down. So you start to solve past questions. Something that people do, something I would encourage that even when you are walking, right? The Bible talks about meditation. Meditation is not just to be sitting and be humming. You are making declarations, you are talking. So on your own, you try and recollect what you have read. You can see that I'm telling you things that I learned. I finished writing the exam, but I've not forgotten what I learned per se. Do you understand? I'm not writing the exam, but I've not forgotten what I learned. Because like they said in the local palace, that if you didn't day, didn't day. When you have it, you have it. So you ensure that you go and solve past questions. Right? So what I used to do is this. Every topic have course papers that come out every day. That not every day, that are always examinable. SFM, my course. But there's no ICAN exam without valuation. Business valuation. Bond valuation. No, well, bond does not come out every time. Business valuation, right? No ICAN exam without valuation. Right? So an ICAN has weighting, section A, B, C, D. It is in the syllabus, it's in the study pack. Some sections carry more weight than other sections. Right? So you go and you look at it's there in the syllabus. It's boldly written there. They'll tell you this section B or section C is 30%. It's written there. So these are topics that you must, it's a sacrilege for you to go and write that exam. Like in tax, you're going to write tax exam, you don't know company income tax, you don't know capital allowance. Those are sacrilegious acts. I'm not sure it's the ICAN exam you're preparing for. You're preparing for maybe ACARA exam, right? But if you're going to write ICAN exam, you must know these things. You must know it now.
True.
Some people would rather go and be learning end of park miscellaneous things that they don't always examine. So when you're solving past questions, you will see where the institute brings. Remember, I've already established that a principle should settle. You should understand the concept. So meaning that even if ICAN, they are very, very tricky. When I wrote tax, advanced tax, capital gains tax, I solved like 20 questions. I said no matter where these people bring it, I will know what they did. On the exam day, I saw what I've never seen before. I said, hey, I was like, what is this? Then I said, no, now me go defeat you now. So because I'd already prepared and I solved a lot of questions. One big mistake that ICAN students make is that ICAN, they don't mark you. It's in the marking scheme. They don't mark your final answer. They don't mark your final. It's there. You look at it. Go and check past question. There's no mark for final answer. Check it. It's there. They don't mark your final answer. What the examiner wants to see is an attempt. That's why you hear people, a good attempt, a very good. They want to see how you think, because at this level you're a professional. They want to see that you can think. In case study, you can interpret a case scenario. You can have a conclusion and you can make a recommendation. They want to see your thinking process. So it's not about writing correct answer. It's about making a good attempt. You might make errors, but make a good attempt. That's why you hear people say, I scored 70 something. I only answered 2 questions. I don't know. They made good attempts. So allow principles to settle, right? Solve past questions, because it will build confidence. When you solve past questions, you ask your lecturer questions. Sir, why did they do this? And if you solve past questions, you will notice that they do a lot. They make a lot of mistakes. They do wrong things. They do things that they will just manufacture one answer. Like, where did this come from? And some people cram it. Instead of cramming, you understand it and go and meet your lecturer and say, man, why was this? Why was it like this? Why did they do this? Because the principle has settled inside of you. And you solve past questions, you allow principles to settle. Number 1, I said, is remember why you started. Number 2, I said, allow principles to settle, right? Number 3 is that you solve past questions. Number 4 is that you eat well, right? This seems very, very funny. I have different stories. There was a diet I wrote, case study. Case study is 4 hours. Eat well, exercise well, live well. ICAN is not a do or die affair. Before results came out, people were like, hey, the tension is too much. They posted a job opportunity. Someone was like, tension is too much. They should not post job now. It's result we're waiting for. Because that time they were posting a lot of things. So what do you mean by tension is too much? So because of ICAN, you will not eat, you won't feed your family, you won't get a job. Like, you get that kind of stuff, right? So the day I wrote case study. And when I wrote case study, 2 hours into the exam, my left head made pop, like I heard noise in my head in the exam hall, because I didn't eat in the morning. I didn't eat well. So I had noise. I had a sound on my head. And that was the end of the exam, because I could not think again. I couldn't remember anything. I started yawning in the exam. I was hungry. You understand? There are times that people went to exam, they read 2 papers. In the morning, they wrote the morning paper. Then they slept in the exam hall. Let me in the car. They forgot. Then they now woke up 1 hour into the exam. And once you do that, they will not let you. They won't let you in, right? So prepare your mind mentally. Back to mindset. Ensure you eat well, exercise, eat before an exam. Eat before an exam. Even if some people's bodies are different. People will tell you that if I eat, I'll go to the toilet. So just try and put something, maybe biscuits, but me, I prefer to eat maybe like an oil food, like moi moi or something, or rice that I prepared. Just make sure that, so just ensure that your mind is stuffed up and energized. It looks like a small point, but that's what it made me feel a paper, like in the exam hall, and I had a knock on my head, right? Because I mean, people get tired in exam, people sleep up, right? And it's so prepare well, rest well, eat well. Um, the center I was, and there was that I wrote case study in November 2022. That was the only time I stayed all night. I read, I did it. I still failed that diet. So it's not by staying all night. There are places where people were reading, as in I stayed all night. My eyes did not blink once. There are a lot of people that are still writing. I've been writing, and they wrote a diet and stayed all night writing, reading. They sleep in the exam center. They sleep there. They don't for week mosquito is biting them. They are collecting malaria and they still fail the exam. So you need to be in a proper state of mind. During that period, I like to walk around, do exercise, just feel good. Feel good about yourself. It looks very simple, but it can be a game changer. It took me time to finally understand it. So eat well and prepare mentally. Number one, I said the why you started. Number two, I said settle, solve past questions, eat well, be prepared, settle principle settling. Then another point I would say, like I said, have a reading partner, someone that you read with, and you are able to ask questions, right? You solve that person and you ask questions. That person is accountable. You're accountable to that person. Then number 5, this is the final point. There are many other things I will say, but this is the other point I will say, is that if you start ICAN, be clear when you want to finish the exam and how you are going to finish it. For example, if you're writing 9, okay, this I'm going to break down this point. If you're writing 9 papers, for example, if you're writing skills and professional 9 papers, I think it's now 10 because skills is now 5 and professional is 5. That's 10.
10.
Now be very clear. I will finish this exam in 18 months. I'll write 2 papers, 3 papers, 2 papers, 3 papers, and I will clear 20 papers in 18 months. Or be super clear. Write it down. See, I checked my notes, right? And I discovered on the 27th of June, 27th of December 2024, after I failed SFM, I saw that I failed the exam. I went to go and buy a big note. There are a lot of things to say. I went to go and buy a big note, a very big hardcover. And I wrote on that note, I said, with God, all things are possible. That May 2025 diet is a walkover. I will score 70 plus, right? And I scored 65. I couldn't get 70 because 70 is an A. I mean, if you're an A student, I was 5 marks away from 70. So like maybe I did not do assignments, I did not do mock, so that's why I probably did not score my 70. I'm not letting you know now, right? So be clear when you want to finish. Be very clear with yourself that I will do ICAN within 2 years, 3 years. I will do 2 papers this day, 3 papers this day, 4 papers this day. Don't overload yourself. See, I was talking to somebody the other week. She has 5 papers. And she said she has failed before. She wants to write the 5 in November. Don't fall for that trick. It's a trick. And it's even worse because ICAN will make you, they incentivize you to write 5 because it's cheaper if you write 5 than writing 1 or 2. It's cheaper to write 5. It's a trick. Don't fall for that trick. So people will tell you, I can write 5 now, write 4 now. What happens is that you keep failing. You just be failing. So I advise that if you have someone that's failed over time, don't write 5. But remember, there are always outliers. These things don't apply to. Some people will tell you it's a lie. They wrote 5, they passed 5. Or they wrote 5, they passed 1. They wrote 4, they passed 1. Like that, they will be clearing, they will be writing, they will fail many, they will pass 1. So be clear when you will finish the exam. Have a timeline. I'll be done with this exam in 2 years, in 3 years. And for each diet, I will not write more than 3 papers. I will not write 2 papers on the same day. Very important. I will not write SFM and audit on the same day. I will not write CRO and tax on the same day. I will spread it and be very strategic about your ICAN success. Do not leave it to chance. Be clear when you want to finish it. Be very strategic, right? Do not leave it to chance. Like you will write, don't write more than what you can take. Don't fall for the illusion that you have to finish it fast, fast, fast. You don't have time. You don't have time. I don't have time. I need to do other things in my life. That kind of stuff. Somebody that treks from Lagos to Benin, right? Maybe the person starts trekking, and someone that uses is going by road. He lives in the morning. Someone that uses flights can get there in 30 minutes from Benin to Lagos. So God can make you fly. Like He can give you supernatural speed. So calm down and ensure that if you're writing 2, you are passing. Writing 3, don't forget if somebody's writing 5, writing 4. So break your exam in bits and don't take everything at once so that you can focus. But it's possible that you can write 5 and pass all 5. People do it, but you're not people. I don't advise it, but it can happen. You can write 5 and pass 5. And like I said, I have strict parameters. Like you must have a track record of excellent academic performance, and you must not be working. Maybe you're not working and you have time on your hands. Yes, you can write 5. But if not, there's typically no time, right? So I don't know if I was able to. So take it bit by bit, have a
Yeah.
timeline to finish, and there are more
Yeah.
things, but I will.
Can we all drop those things in the chat? All of those things. Oh, and thank you very much. All of those things very valid. In fact, every point you raised, I just have something to say, but today is not my day. So, Conita, are you with us?
Hey, Rima,
Conita, please, yes.
can you hear me?
Can you now? Yes, very well. Can you
Okay.
quickly just give us highlight what you want us to know about your ICAN journey? Just highlight now.
My ICAN journey. Okay. I started my ICAN journey when I was in 200 level. I wrote ATS1 during COVID period. I started preparing for it and I wrote it after COVID, I mean. So I passed all my papers at a go. So I got comfortable and I did not write ATS2 in the next diet. Whilst it was something I started with my friends, right? We all started together. And then, so most of my friends actually failed that ATS1, and I was the only one that passed, and I was feeling confident. And I was like, oh, let me wait for them. So when time for ATS2 came, I did not write ATS2, and I was like, okay, I will write next year. And next year came, and I now failed, I think, quantitatives. I failed one paper in ATS2, and then I now eventually passed it and wrote ATS3. I passed ATS3. I think I failed one paper in ATS3 as well. Eventually wrote it, but it ended up taking me like by the time I finished ATS3, that was just in time for my graduation in 2023. So I had exemptions from skills, and then I wrote the 5 papers in November, the 5 papers of professional exams in my the professional exams in November 2024, and I qualified that year. So that was like 1 year after me leaving school. Yeah.
Okay, so talk to us. What went wrong? The times you failed, what were the things you did so that we don't repeat the same thing? Just mention those things to us.
Okay. I think the things I did is number one, I did not have a good reason for writing ICAN. I just did it because I felt like it was the next best thing to do. It felt like what was expected of me. I didn't sit down and actually ask myself, okay, why am I writing this exam? And I think he mentioned it as well. So it's very important that you sit down, because particularly I'm the kind of person that my 4 years of my undergraduate days, I did not particularly enjoy the course that I was studying. So for me to excel in something like ICAN, I would have to actually sit down and ask myself certain questions. So by the time I actually qualified, what I did differently that made me pass those 5 papers at a time, which is something that's not common. I was working, the circumstances around this was not easy. What made me eventually pass was that I finally made a decision about why I was going to write the exam, right? So I'm interested in education. So what I did is for each paper, for SFM, I looked for how the value SFM had to offer me would help me in the work that I was doing. Let me make it practical. For example, I said, okay, I want to learn taxation because my dad owns a business and I want to be able to help him to check his taxes, to help him pay his taxes, remit VAT, and things like that. And I want to, as a citizen of Nigeria, I want to be knowledgeable of how to do, like, to remit my own taxes. Like, I want to be able to check my monthly payroll, see how my tax was deducted, and actually understand it when I check it, right? So I started to link every paper that I was writing to a personal reason that actually mattered to me. So something like case study, I would say, okay, I want to understand scenarios that play out in organizations. I want to be able to understand financial ratios and things like that. When I want to invest, I want to buy stocks, right? Before I buy a stock in a company, I want to be able to analyze that company, check their financials, and really understand why I want to invest in that company. So ICAN was no longer something I was doing because I felt I needed to do it, but something that, like, I had a deep why for each and every single paper. I actually knew why I was going to write that paper. So it really helps me to do better as well. I think another thing was like not following the crowd, or being to, yes, things like having a reading partner. And yes, but at the end of the day, I like to say something that nobody can handhold you to your destiny. Nobody can baby you to where God has called you to be. So I had to come out of that group mentality, even when, like, it was really hard for me to study at home. So 3 months to the time it was for me to write my exam, my center, it was not in my center, they had an accommodation. I lodged there. So I was there. So I really thought that, okay, now that I've lodged in this accommodation, all of us in the hostel, that's how we'll be helping each other. But I quickly learned that it was not the case. If I struggled to read on my own at home, I would still struggle no matter where I found myself. So one thing that I can really taught me personally is how to be independent when I want to achieve something, like how to bring myself out. And like, so yes, I did have people that I partnered with, people that taught me things, but I mean, even if you tell someone to wake you up, you're still the one that has to get up. Nobody can drag you and put the book inside your head. So yes, I started being more independent in my approach towards the exam as well. And I think lastly, knowing myself and knowing how I read, I decided that, okay, I was going to go to a center. I prefer to at least be around people that are reading, even though they're not going to push me to read, right? So I made like informed decisions. Before I registered for the exam, I did my research. I was listening to ICAN prize winners that had won prizes, because my goal was actually to win a prize, right? Because I was like, reach for the stars and you fall on the moon, or something like that. There's a quote like that. So yes, so I was really preparing myself. I noticed like my distractions, which was like my phone. I can get like really attached to my phone. I dropped my phone. I was not on social media. I bought Nokia flashlights and I was rocking it for like 5 months, right? So these were like just some of the sacrifices I made.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now tell us what do you want us to do differently, right? You've mentioned the things you did that didn't go well. What do you want us to do differently? Now we want to come back stronger. We're coming back better. What
Okay.
should we do differently?
Define your why. Define your
Mm-hmm.
why. I don't know. Some people on this call may be younger, and so like things of purpose, subjects like purpose may be something that is new to you. You're not so familiar with it. But even if sometimes it mustn't be like, okay, I know that 10 years from now I want to go into education, and me writing ICAN would make me more credible in terms of like academic work, for me to be able to like go into this fair. It mustn't be that. It may be simple things like, what character traits do I want to get from this journey that I am on. Like for me, it's so funny how like for some people, like it was the certification at the end of the day. But like when I think of my ICAN story, I think of the time in my life where I finally learned how to do things by myself. So it can be something like, what character do I want this journey to teach me? Do you understand? Like, is it discipline? Is it like, do you understand? What does success really mean to you beyond the certificate? What do you want to get out of the exam? Because like for every single paper, there is something that you can learn, and you cannot learn that thing and learn it well if you don't have clear learning intentions. There's something I always used to say when I was in school to motivate myself. I always used to say, we are still going to suffer. So like you're still going to read for the exam. So why not read for it in a way that is meaningful to you and you gain something at the end of your journey? So I would really advise that you define your why. You really actually take a back seat. How does this contribute to my purpose? What does this journey mean to me? Am I just here to pass the paper? When I pass the paper, like how am I here to build transferable skills? Do you understand? Like I remember looking on LinkedIn at someone's profile. This is someone that is in climate, and he was taking courses with Corporate Finance Institute about how to read financial statements. And someone be like, what's his business? He's in climate. But there's something called transferable skills, and finance is a very good place to get transferable skills. Things like reading financial statements that you will learn in your case study, things like taxation. These things are actually relevant. So when you sit down and you set clear learning intentions, it doesn't just make you successful at the end, but it makes learning actually enjoyable. Aside from defining your why, I would say ask questions. When you're about to go on a journey that you've never gone before, you've never written the ICAN, there are people that have written it. Reach out to them. For me, I listened to past ICAN winners. I reached out to people on LinkedIn because I had failed, right? I had failed twice. I failed ATS2 and I failed ATS3. So I needed to like reinforce that belief. So what made me think that, okay, you can write 5 papers and pass? No, I had to actually sit down and adjust my mindset by asking questions, by speaking to people that were ahead of me, which is why this platform is just very beautiful, because you get to hear from other people, hear what they did. And then I would say also pay the price. I remember when I called my friend and I told her that, okay, I was going to write 5 papers, and she was just like, see, it's all fine and good, because like I have very spiritual friends and they'll be like, oh, what is that possible? All of us ginger and everything. But she was like, pay the price, count your cost, act like someone that is writing 5 papers. So yes, you know yourself, you know what you want to do. But the thing is that like some people actually, I saw a meme online that said, I will be done with ICAN and get qualified in 4 diets, and then like someone was now laughing. So that was the meme. So it's not that it is not possible. It's just that some people, after declaring this thing, you don't actually make up your mind to pay the price. Since I was in 200 level and I started my ICAN journey, I was doing the calculations for myself now. I was doing the math. And looking back, it would be like, oh, why was I doing that? I eventually did not end up finishing when I said I was going to finish. But the reason why I did not finish when I said I was going to finish was still me. Like I am responsible for my failures. Do you understand? So for even anybody that wants to write this exam, please just make sure that you're actually willing to pay the price. If you're going to write 5 papers, fine and good. Make sure that you know yourself. It is something that you can do and you're willing to pay the price. I put my phone aside, like I was off social media. Nobody could reach me aside from like my really close friends. And I wasn't really taking calls at the time. I had affirmations I was saying to myself every morning because I wanted to do something that I had never done before. So I had to pay a price I have never paid before. So be willing to pay the price. Don't just set a grand goal that, oh, this is something that you want to do. And if you're someone that has failed, please take responsibility for your failure. Don't blame ICAN. Don't blame ICAN. Don't blame your friend that you did not wake you up or did not share one past question that they had. Like, actually take responsibility. When we were in CU, Papa always used to say that you are absolutely responsible for the outcome of your life. And this is something we used to recite to ourselves. But I feel like coming out of school is really actually done to me in a new and in a deeper dimension, in a deeper way, right? That I am actually truly responsible. So I was able to actually take responsibility for the times that I had failed. And failing is not a bad thing if you're able to fail forward. So you're the one that's going to choose how you feel. Because of how I had already failed and how I chose to look at my failures, I was able to now reflect and come back bigger. Like when I saw my results, I cried because it was a lot. I know how much I put into it. I know how much of a big deal it is to write 5 papers at a time while working. This was something that in my center, when I went to my center, there were old men and women there, and they were just like, see the small girl, Johnny just come. Like, they really were not expecting me. In my center, I was the only one that qualified that diet. And I was the youngest, right? These are like grown men and women. And yes, they have responsibilities, but like, it was a big deal. I would learn your lessons. Don't make the same mistake twice. You know that you are not good in this particular paper. You will now neglect that paper to the last minute. Be wise. Like, make corrections. Like, these are things like, you don't even need to write ICAN per se to know some things that you should not do in terms of academics. You know that since 100 level, you wait till last minute to read for exam, and it's not the best. So will you actually keep doing it all your life, waiting for the last minute? Learn from your mistake, learn your lessons, and then strategize. Like, don't just approach ICAN like, okay, any exam, any other normal exam. Have a strategy on how you want to pass each paper. There's something that really baffled me in corporate reporting. Is one of the papers for professionals, right? So corporate reporting, when you're in professionals, it is more like theory. It's more like, oh yeah, ICAN has changed their syllabus now, right? So I don't know how that looks like now, but at the time I was writing, right, it's more like theory. It's almost like as if you're writing audits, right? That's how I used to experience, because you would think that, oh, you'd be preparing accounts, but aside from group accounting, corporate accounting was theory. So how you be someone that wants to write the exam and you're busy spending so much time on calculation, balancing of accounts, and it's not even group accounting, maybe other things, and you're not learning things, the 5-step revenue model, all those measurements, how to do measurements for this, and how to like treat these assets, the theory behind it. So for each paper, know what you're getting into, right? There are additional resources, there are things that you can read before you actually start reading the paper. Know what you are reading. What is SFM really all about? What is case study all about? Sorry, I'm only mentioning the ones in professionals. Those are the ones I took seriously, and so that's why I can really relate to them. And then I would say own your journey as well. Like, own your journey. Don't look at any other person that's, oh, me and this person started together, me and this person, oh, we will finish together. Or stop looking at people. I have a friend that I can remember, she was consistently failing this information technology. I think she failed it about 3 times, and she's a first class. Like, she was on a first class. She's bright. So, but she, like, I remember speaking to her one time, and she told me that failing that paper repeatedly and writing it repeatedly made her realize that she actually has a lot of interest in technology. So she wasn't even feeling bad about it again. She now actually took it on her head, and now she's doing something close to fintech. Do you understand? So don't look at what other people are doing or how other people are passing. Be personal in your approach, in how you want to approach the journey. I think those are something that.
Wow. Thank you very much. Know yourself. I'm privileged to teach different, diverse group of students. Please, can we give them a round of applause for Owen, for Conita? Can we just give them a round of applause? Emojis, shout out to them, comments, thank you comments. Really, they really, packed so many things. I've been privileged to teach, diverse group of students. In fact, this last exam that we wrote, I had different, because I had like 3 different cohorts. I had 1 physical cohort, then I had 2 online cohorts. And the physical cohort gave me the opportunity to kind of see the student. What I noticed, because majority of them passed, I think it was just 1 person that failed. And that person that failed, guess what? From the beginning, she had always said she hated SFM. She feared thank you so much. Thank you so much, Oluwabusalami. Thank you very much. She had always mentioned that she in fact, she said, this course scares me. I hate it. I don't like it. So she always had that mindset. And I told her, see, it's not about whether you like it or not. In life, it's not everything you like, you get. There's some things you don't like, but you have to deal with it. All right. And this girl really worked hard, but she just never had a good mindset concerning that course. She just felt the course wasn't just working with her life. She liked corporate reporting. She liked all the ones she liked, she passed. But SFM, she failed. And there was another student. In fact, the 18-year-old girl in economics. I don't know if you guys have seen the post. 18-year-old girl, economics, 300 level. chartered accountant, road skills once, road professional once. Every time we were in CAF, this girl was always interested to know why we were doing. She was not interested if our numbers were correct. She was never interested because really, our questions, she will look through the questions, she's looking through the board, she's asking questions on why. She was not interested in how did you get 5? How did you get 10? She never asked such questions. All her questions were, what's the mindset? If it is so, why? Okay, if it's not so, what do we do? That was all her questions. And of course, we saw the results. She passed everything in one sitting. Another thing is you cannot connect the dots without looking back. First evaluation, you failed. Why? Serious question you need to ask yourself. Why did I fail? Don't hide from it. You know it. You don't have to tell anyone about it. You can even take a camera and speak to the camera. You don't need to tell anyone about it in case you're too ashamed to let them know. Why did I fail? The girl I mentioned that failed, when I spoke with her, what happened? Why did you fail this course? It was clear. She was scared of that course. She said, you know what? That course still looks somehow. So I told her, you have to change your mindset. You need to understand why you failed the course. Another thing is you cannot keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. Last time you studied this pattern, you read 1 week, 1 month, or 2 weeks to exam. You can't do the same thing. Owen says something. He said, read to understand, read to remember. I'm going to emphasize that remember. Reading to understand is good. At the professional level, I will specifically mention this. At skilled level, you'll be fine by just reading to understand. At a professional level, after you've understood, you must be able to remember and apply what you have read. Ability to pick, because now nobody's going to ask you any direct question. You've learned in an organized learning. They're going to mess up that organized learning by asking questions from different patterns. Are you able to draw insight from what you've understood and be able to remember? And one tactic to read to remember is to solve past questions. You cannot solve minimum, let's say, 4 past questions on a topic. In fact, part of your reading plan is past question. No past question, no reading. You can't tell me you read a topic. No, there's something like that. You don't read a topic. You read and then you solve question. If you cannot, whether it's theoretical question, whether it's calculation, whatever mode of question it is, you have to solve. Tell yourself, I need to do minimum 4 past questions before I can tell myself I've read this topic. So you can't keep doing the same thing and expect a different. And the last thing I would say is, eat the frog. Those things that scare you, face them headlong. Those topics, those courses that scares you, face them headlong. Do not keep them to the end. Don't let them be the ones you will do to the end of the exam, close to the exam. If you already know this is one of the courses you're writing, you already know I'm writing 2 courses, and don't them do the one you like, read it for like 4 months, then the one you don't like, you leave it to the end because you really don't like it. Those difficult ones, those ones you've termed, because everybody has different terminology of what is difficult to them. Those ones you've termed difficult are the ones you want to attack them headlong. You don't joke because already there's something going on in your mindset. So you want to attack them headlong. And the truth is, when you do that, everything becomes familiar. You want to get to that exam hall, and then you look at your question and you know the only thing you're asking God for now is, God, just give me time because I have a lot to write. I just want to be able to write this thing, very well. All right. So I want us to ask questions, direct questions. If there are anything they haven't mentioned, any questions that you want any of them to address, I would like you to. I think once I say raise hand, I will just speak to you. If you have any questions you want them to specifically address, please raise your hand, then I will call on you. All right. Okay. Any direct question, just raise your hand. I'll call on you. Now, Konita and Owen. So let me start with Owen, right? How do you build that mental strength? Because we're talking about mindset. How do we build that mental strength? What's the source of mental strength? Owen?
I would say mental strength is from different sources. Mental strength is a combination of different factors. But when we're saying mental is the mind. So what are you feeding
Yeah.
your mind, right? So you need to read books a lot, right? For me, greatest source of encouragement and inspiration is the Bible for me, right? The Word of God, feeding on the Word of God gives you courage on the promises of God, right? So you have to be like reading books and books that help your mind, right? But I'm a salesperson, so I read books on how to make it like for example, I'm thinking about how am I going to change the world? How am I going to make $100 million or $1 billion? Then I'm filling an exam.
Oh, okay,
I'm
when it's
sorry, I'm
gone.
change
Okay.
the world, and you are thinking of how you're going to change the world and impact Africa. I mean, from the study I'm doing, then it's not an exam that will not make you feel that you are worthless because you've not passed an exam, right? So if I'm going to change the world, if I feel that I have what it takes to provide answers to the world, an exam cannot possibly bring me down. So you need to have an inner picture of yourself. Who are you? Ibukun Awoshika said, a mentor, a colleague told me this, that you will first say, I am, before people will say, thou art, right? You will first say who you are before people will say, yes, you are this. If somebody
Mm.
says today they're a relationship coach and they say it for 10 years, trust me, people will admit that they are a relationship coach, that they'll call them by that. And that's how the world works. So you need to have a mental picture of who am I? You're not defined by your failures, or you're not even defined by your success. Material, your success in the eyes of people. You are defined by who you are and what God has called you to do. So you have to have a clear vision. I read the Bible, staying on the word of God, intimacy with God in prayer. It's the Bible says that they go from strength to strength, everyone that pray before God. So you build strength because it's not easy. And trust me, I also encourage myself that if you fail an exam, there will be other challenges in life. See, if you want to rise in life, you're going to face demons that, whether you are religious or not, you will face gatekeepers. Let me use the word gatekeepers. Gatekeepers say that we've been here, right? We've been here, and nobody comes to this place without our permission. They are called gatekeepers. They will resist you. They will be in government. They will be in the private sector. So an exam cannot be what is limiting you or making you feel bad. When you face gatekeepers in the sector, you will believe something. They will tell you, they will fight you. So if you're feeling bad for an exam, how are you going to conquer territories? How are you going to conquer mountains? How are you going to conquer people? Conquer territories, conquer sectors if you're feeling bad for an exam. So you must tell yourself that ICAN is just the beginning. It's not even anything. I will face bigger battles because I want to conquer bigger places. Generals are only made in battles. So you must tell yourself that you will face bigger battles, you will face bigger challenges, but you are up to the task. Because like I mentioned in previous point, have a mental picture of who you are. Then tell yourself that you will face bigger things. So because you will face bigger things, you cannot be sulking or dwelling and be feeling bad that you didn't do well in an exam. So you have to have a mental picture. Tell yourself you face bigger picture. Read people listen to stories of people that inspire you. Watch YouTube. I listen to some guys, Alex Omozi, Sabri Subri. These are sales guys. Myron Gibson he's a Christian in the US. These are more of sales people. They're more sales about how to make sales, how to change your fortunes, right? So I listen to those kind of people on a regular basis, right? They are always talking about how they always tell their stories. So I imagine one day I even imagine this thing before it happened. I will come and speak to people. You understand? You have an imagination of it. You brood on it. You think about it. You declare it, and you put in the work. So you tell yourself that for every failure that you see is just an opportunity to to begin again intelligently. Life is perspective. So whenever you fail, you see that okay, that the failure that I failed has given me an opportunity to start more intelligently, to start more faithfully. So mindset, like I said, your mind, your beliefs is shaped by what you are feeding on.
Your senses. Mm.
Yeah. Sorry?
Go ahead, please. Yeah.
It's felt like what you are feeding on. You believe that it's difficult to make money. Nigeria is hard, America is hard, everywhere is hard because they are telling you on the news. They are feeding your mind. You can't see opportunities because that's where your mind is, right? So you need to feed yourself with the right information. A man will only be the same person that is, except by the influence of books and the friends that he keeps. So feed yourself with knowledges that edify, knowledge that helps you in your career. Read books. The other speaker talked about she spoke to previous ICAN winners. She looked at their stories. Exactly, that's how to go. Read other people's stories. Listen to them. Encourage yourself. Picture, imagine, just keep on picturing. Imagine how life will be when you finally pass the exam. So that's what helps. So in fact, I will tell you is books, books, and your books and the association that you keep and the help of God. Those three things, right? And in those things, you must be consistent. You cannot read today and read in 2 months. It takes consistency to forge attitude and character. So be consistent in developing your mind through reading of books, studying relevant materials, watching. I watch videos, I watch history, how Zuckerberg started, how things started. I watch them a lot. Feed this on your mind, then be imagining. Every day I look at the mirror in my house, I say you will speak, your voice will be heard across the nations. Every single day. You might be talking and they will think that you are a mad person. You're just a joker. But it will first happen inside before anybody will see it. So when it happens, people will begin to say, where did this person come from? We knew you before. But they didn't see what the investments you were making in your mind to develop yourself. So and be consistent with it. After some time, there will be a breakout. So yeah.
Thank you. The sense organs are the ways your minds are shaped. What you see, what you hear, what you taste, what you smell, what you feel. Like a lot of us now, our minds are already shifting just by listening to the speakers. Our minds are already shifting, and that's how. So you have to soak yourself in those positive things. All right. Okay. Oboma's hand is already raised. Obama, please go ahead. Go ahead with your question. Obama. Okay. All right. So while we're waiting for her, Conita, how do you balance ICAN with work? All right. In your own case, work and school. Now, speak to us. How do we do it effectively? How do we balance it so that we can win at work? We don't want to mess up at work. We also don't want to mess up with ICAN. How do we do that?
Okay. I would say at the beginning of your journey, whether you are a student or you're a working professional, count the costs. Be very, very strategic about everything that you want to do. I was strategic about the center I would use. Like I researched, I called the centers, I called both of them. I went there physically. I compared both of them like after work. I I did my research right. So I'm saying be very, very intentional about the strategy, even the papers that I was going to write. This is something that I thought about why I felt I could write those 5 papers. I didn't just jump into it. So be very strategic, understand yourself. If you want to balance ICAN and other responsibilities, it means you have to be real. You have to get down to work. I was speaking to someone recently that was just confiding in me about how they wanted to write a very serious exam. And I was like, see, it's possible. It's possible to balance work, and it's possible to balance work and ICAN. It's possible to balance all these things. It's possible to do all these things. I look at people like Papa and see the kind of workload that they carry. They really, yes, I see the kind of workload that they carry. I look at high performing individuals. It doesn't get easier. The higher you go, the higher the responsibilities of life gets. So are you going to be the kind of person that's always going to have an excuse not to show up? You have to make up your mind that you are going to show up regardless of the cost. If you're the one that said that, yes, okay, this diet, I'm going to write 3 papers, and I'm going to, and you know that you also have school, and you know you want to, let's say, graduate with a first class, or you have a full-time job, you still want to be excellent at your work, you have to cut down on social media time. Your friends have to start seeing you less. They're just setting decisions that follow. Do you understand? So you cannot make one decision that, oh, you want to write I can, and then these all decisions are not following, then you're not really serious. So I would just say, if you want I can with other things, settle down. Papa said, settle down with your work, settle down place and start early. Start early because it's not important. I look at people when I was in my center, I saw married men, married women. I was pregnant. I saw women, they will come with their baby to class. No matter the kind of situation you want to paint for yourself, there were people of very, very high profile individuals because my center was in Port Harcourt and it was a very like well-known center. So they were high profile individuals, people from FIRS, management levels that would leave class because they have a meeting. And I'm looking at people like that and I'm like, should I start complaining? I can't complain now. So you have to be real with yourself. You have to first of all see that this thing is a possibility. People are going to try to discourage you. Even you, sometimes you want to feel discouraged, but you have to see that it is a possibility. All things are possible to those who believe. So you must believe in your heart that it's something that is possible. And then when you believe, it's that belief that will drive you to start chasing. You have to match it up with action, not just I believe, I believe. I started to like act wisely. I started to behave myself wisely because I know that like I would be in the bus, I would be commuting from maybe work to class or to back home. I would still be going through. I found ICAN podcast too. Things exist. If you're looking for them, you will find them, you will dig out those materials, right? I started listening to the ICAN podcasts. There is no material I did not know about because I was just all over the place, right? So even little times like when I was to transport, when I was commuting, little times like when maybe I'm at work and there's not really much on my table, sharp, I brought out this thing and I'm already looking through it. So if you're committed to it, I feel like when it comes to ICAN, I just want to close with this, right? In regards to this question, when it comes to ICAN, something I genuinely believe is that if this exam sees the effort you put into it before it. So sometimes it's not really about what happens on that day per se, but I feel like when you're faced with your question paper, it's almost like a full circle moment of what you have been doing from day one, and then somehow when the examiner is marking your scripts, by the time you pour yourself, because I used to pour myself in my exams, right? When your examiner is marking your scripts, it's almost as if they can see how much effort you put into preparation for that exam, and they all as if they mark you based off of that, not even what you wrote, right? I'm not saying you should write nonsense in your paper, but see, there's a way you read that God will just like, no, I can't just let this one, I can't let you just go like that. All you did cannot be a waste. So I really believe that you should do your part and leave the rest for God. But that doing your part, make sure you're actually doing your due diligence, you're doing your part, because there's always time. If you want to make time for something that is important to you, you'll be able to make time. You'll be able to make time. Papa used to say when we were in school that this is the least busy you will ever be. And I never really understood that until I came out into the real world. And even when I started to complain about my own responsibilities as an early level professional, maybe graduate trainee, I'm like, so is it that I don't want to ever be in management level? Is it that I don't want to be a C-suite executive? What of when I go to Lagos Business School or when I go to the Harvards of this world? This life has demands. So don't look at yourself as if, no, my own is the worst, or my schedule, my boss is like this. Anything you want to describe, people have done worse. And sometimes what allows you to make those excuses are the privileges that you have. Some of us, we behave like we take things lightly because maybe it's someone that's paying for our fees, so we don't really understand. Maybe when you actually put money together and you pay for your fee, you will know that yes, this paper I cannot afford to fail. So you understand? So I'm trying to say, just make up your mind. Something you have to make up your mind about. You can always make time. I saw someone on LinkedIn recently, Stephen Akintayo. He went back to school. He went back to, I think, Harvard or one of those Ivy League schools.
Harvard Business School.
Himself. Yes, this is someone that he's a CEO of many companies. I mean, if you want to learn, you will learn. If you want to do something, do it. So let's stop making excuses.
Wow. Thank you very much. Balancing life and ICAN and work. If you're studying, actively study. See, it's not about spending one hour, 5 hours. If you're going to spend 30 minutes, you're putting your mind and you're telling yourself this 30 minutes has to make sense. I've seen it I've seen students that have done so well academically and they have not killed themselves. They didn't burn out. I've seen, and I've also seen some that actually burned out. Now, for those that didn't burn out, what they do is whenever they're reading, they're actively reading. They don't joke. They read actively, and that activity means they have a note beside them. They are bringing up, they're like trying to call up what they've read. They're trying to rewrite what they've read in a way that they would answer the question. Conita said something about it as if examiners see. Yes, we see. Let me tell you the truth. We see from the way you write. I see sometimes even when we're marking, we say that you know the answer, but we can't see the answer, but we know you know the answer. The way your introduction is matters. The way you're even approaching the question, your handwriting. Some people write lazy. What I mean, the handwriting is not bad, right? I'm not saying your handwriting has to be colorful, it has to be in a particular way, right? It has to look, no, what you need is for it to be legible. But the way you're even writing, we can tell because there's no consistency. Your E, yeah, it's not the same E there. We know you're already writing lazy, you're writing tired. This child is not really knowledgeable about this. We can tell from your handwriting, I'm telling you. The way you write the introduction to the answer. For instance, we're talking about accounting standards, and then let's say FR or CR, SBR now, where they're asking you to explain why a lease, an asset on lease, why it should be recorded the way it is, or why it's measured the way it is, why it's to be presented the way it is. The first statement matters. Sometimes students ramble, they write stories, especially in audits. That's where you see that. Stories. They're writing about why Mr. Adamu should have told the other colleague not to. Nah, who's interested in that? Nobody's interested in that. What they want from you is tell them what the standard says, the audit standard, or what are the provisions to that thing. Once we see that, we know you have the answer. Another thing is you should know what is urgent, what is important. ICAN, is it urgent or is it important? You should be able to also time block your time. Tell yourself 8 to 10 is my reading time. See, I read for a living. I write exams. I don't know. Book is my job. See, when I'm going for something very serious, I have times consistently. So if I tell myself 8 to 10, I stick to 8 to 10. Now, some days, if I don't clock in that time, I'm not moving anywhere. It's my brain is already used to it until I finish. I wake up really early and I sleep late, but there's a way I do it. If I'm going to be on something for 30 minutes, I have nothing can take me out of it. Nothing. And if I tell myself, like public holidays are also good times, I can read for a stretch of 5 hours without standing. But I'm telling you, those readings, I planned it. It's not like I wake up and I'm like, I already know on the 15th of February, there's going to be a public holiday. I need to finish this. So I've planned it. When I said eat, I've eaten. Those things matter. You have to time. You can't just point your day. And when I feel, you can't see. Book is not something you know. Few people feel like reading. Very few. Very few. I'm sometimes you're writing an ICAN exam where life is going. You have life going for you. You can't be feeling like you can't wait till you tell your brain this is the time. And you can only speak to your brain by doing it consistently. If you do it consistently, your brain will get the message, and your brain will be the next person to tell you it's time. Your brain will be the next person to wake you up. Your brain will be the next person to tell you 8 to 10 is your reading time. Why are you gisting? Why are you talking? One of my students last year got chatted while she was in school. Our own story was exceptional because she said she was NOASA VP, because I also worked with them. She was NOASA VP, and what she said was she didn't want, as she was a first class student, she wanted to come out first class, top of the class. She wanted to be chartered, and she also wanted a social life. Very few first class and ICAN students wanted social life, but this girl was very intentional. She said she wanted a social life. So she went in and took the position of nurse, and that meant a lot of, they do a lot of things, activities and all of that. And the other girl that didn't get into the social life said she knew she couldn't cope with the social life. So she faced ICAN and school. And of course, both of them finished top of the class. But for her, she wanted social life. But guess what? She said she deleted TikTok completely. She deleted her app. She doesn't know what it looks like any longer. She deleted it from my. She will speak to you. It's like she has timed herself. She comes to my office. She knows she's leaving in the next 2 minutes. She knows. Her body tells her. The moment it's time to leave, she's standing up. I'm telling you, that is when you've trained your brain that every conversation that is not, about what I intend to, it's time to stop this conversation. When you train your brain and you tell yourself, I'm going to be seeing this person and I'm going to be visiting them and I'm going to spend just 30 minutes. When it's 30 minutes, you will know. You won't even need to carry your time. You're standing up immediately because you've trained your brain. ICAN is a very serious exam. You have to get your brain to be used to that. All right. So, Obama, I don't know if you're ready now. Obama, are you ready? Any other person with any question? Any other person with any question? Yeah. All right. So I think Owen and we'll start with Owen. Just give us your last word. Anything you've not said you want us to know, you want us to take home with. Last word. Owen, please go ahead. Last word.
Yeah, so thank you very much for this opportunity. And I want to let
Welcome.
everyone know that your mind, you can deceive everybody, but you can't deceive yourself. Right? Beyond ICAN exams, many people have started things that they didn't finish. Their mind already knows that they are incompetent in the sense that they 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 start a business today, they drop it tomorrow. They start an adventure, they stop it tomorrow. So passing an ICAN exam is not just the exam, but it's about you. It's about your life. It's about like what do you want to do? What do you want to? What legacy do you want to build? What pedigree do you want to build? Right. So you must make your mind know that you are a person of competence. It starts by starting what you said you will finish. So I want to let you know that if you don't quit, you cannot lose. Go back, brush your decks, brush your books, go back and study, and with God on your side, you will succeed.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Owen. God bless you. Please, can we give Owen, round of applauses? Can we show him love? Can we just show Owen love? Thank you very much. Obama, are you ready now? Um, we can't hear. Okay, unmute your mic, then we'll hear you. Or you can type your question. If we can't hear you, even though you've unmuted your mic, we can't still hear you. You can type in your question, please. All right. Konita, please, can you give us your last your last words? What you want us to go with? What you haven't said and you want us to know? Please go ahead.
Okay. I would just like to say that when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable, right? So get your why in order. Once you get your why in order, it makes the journey a lot easier. And this may be controversial and it may be hard for some people to let go. But for some of us, when you sit down and you think of what you truly want in this season of your life, you may end up concluding that maybe it's not ICAN and it's actually okay. So don't pressure yourself because of what is around you. You are not another person. And there's this verse in the Bible that says your gifts will make room for you. See, it is that place that God has called you to be that you can truly flourish. Why I finished and I finished with speed was one of the reasons why was because God told me that, see, by 2025, I have another plan for you and you cannot still be writing ICAN. And that puts all the zeal I needed to do to accomplish that task, right? So please know who you are, know what you're doing. Some people are going to finish ICAN before school. Some people are not. Some people are going to finish immediately after school. Some people are going to study accounting and not write ICAN. Man, know thyself. Know what you want to do. Some people are going to end up writing one exam for mass comm people. Really sit down and understand who you are, what you want. Dr. Ezewuka is there and she's very good. You can always speak to her and pour out your heart to her. It's not a competition. Just make sure that you are aligned with where you are supposed to be per time. And if eventually you decide that ICAN is something that you want to do, don't waste your own time rewriting papers because you are not serious. Make up your mind and go for it and end it so that you can start thinking about other pursuits that you have.
Wow. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. God bless you. Can we clap for them? Thank you very, very much. On the last note, like I promised, you all get the tracker for everyone that attended. We had about 27 persons, so you all get the tracker such that we can start with that. And then my DM is also for a lot of you guys have spoken to me already. My DMs are still open. If you want to talk to me, if you want to speak to any of the speakers, they are willing to, you can connect with them on LinkedIn. They are willing to speak to you. Please do not keep quiet. Sometimes just speaking to someone can actually help. I remember on my own journey, I had one of our professor then that told me that I should just go ahead and do the exam. She said she knew I was capable and I should go ahead and do. She just, there's a way she said it with so much assurance that when I saw her believe in me, I just knew I believed in myself. All right. So sometimes talking to someone, especially people that will inspire you, can actually be a game changer. All right, Lawal, go ahead. I can see your hand. Lawal, go ahead. Just unmute yourself and speak. Lawal, go ahead. What's going on? Nobody is able to speak. Obama, can you go ahead? Your hands are still raised, but it's all right. Even if we can't get your question verbally, please, like I said, reach out to us. We're going to be very available to help you. One thing you also want to be sure is you're individualistic in your approach. She said nobody's going to hold your hand to your destiny. How did you say? Be individualistic in your approach. In as much as you're in a community, you're in a group, be individualistic in your approach. Like today, I put up that we should indicate topics to be reading. It was very strategic, so that it will wake you up. It's not about do I can. I'm about reading. Have you even put a plan? And that's that tracker you need it. So you can put up what you'll be reading. You know today, this is what I said I will read. Let me read. Some persons indicated what they'll be reading, some persons did not, some did read. So in as much as we're in a group or in a community, you have to be individualistic. If there's anything I will tell you for sure, you have to be individualistic. You have to do it. Information will be given. Don't ever think it's for them. It's for you. It's not for us. It's for me. So see it from that point of view and begin to act upon it. All right, I think we'll call it a day. It has been a beautiful time. I would like to say a very big thank you to Konita and Owen. As I need somebody to say thank you. I need one of us to say thank you. I don't want to call any name. Just unmute yourself and speak. One of our participants, just say thank you. All right, I hope there's nothing wrong. Go ahead, yes.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Like to start from, but it has been great listening to Konita and Owen. I've really learned a lot, a whole lot. My spirit is gassed up. I am ready for this next diet. I want to say a big thank you to Konita, thank you to Owen, and thank you to Dr. Omotala. In fact, for bringing them to this platform. I really appreciate you. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Jennifer Collins. Thank you very much. On that note, we'll call it a day, but we're still together. Reach out, DM us. We're here. We're ready to listen to you. All right. Have a blessed night. Good night. Good. Oh my God, the question just came in. Sorry, let's take this question. A question just came in. Who's that? Go ahead, please. Go ahead. Oh my God, somebody wants to speak.
No, I'm just saying good night.
Okay, good night. Sorry, 1 minute. A question came up. When you study and read for past question, I realized some questions have some errors. Yes. And okay, that's all I'm seeing. Yes. Sometimes the answers have errors, and sometimes they do not. Sometimes students think there are errors because the way they think it should be solved the question is not, the answer is not showing that, so they think it's an error. So you really cannot make that final decision. But what I would advise, if you don't have experts working with you, do not assume they are errors, because if you do, you might actually be taking a wrong decision. So if you think what you if you try solving a question and the answer you're seeing in the pack is the Pathfinder is not in line with what you think the answer should be, please look for an expert to help look through that question before you conclude. Because if you conclude, you might be missing out a point. I remember a particular question on SF, and one of my students thought was an error, sent it to me, and I opened it up and I saw how she could have solved it rather than the way she thought. And she didn't, and that was how she learned the concept. It was on decision tree. I remember very well now. That was how she learned the decision tree concept, because she didn't know that before. So please, sometimes there are no errors. Get an expert. Like we're going to be doing on our group, we're going to be having tutorials where we're bringing us together. So there is no way, we're going to have tutorials. We're going to have, it's going to be handout. I'm the one handling the tutorial, but I would allow you, interact. But what I mean is I'm putting a structure to it. So it's not just anyhow. All right. So please get experts to look through. Like I said, I'm available. In as much as I'm focused on 3 courses for this diet, I can still provide answers to some courses. I can provide answers to tax, because most of the courses I actually teach in Covenant University, but I don't have that 100% of time to teach all of them, because I want to spend 30 days per course, so I don't want to do anything short of 30 days, and I also want to come back for revision. So that's why I'm sticking to that. But you can throw your questions, just DM me with the questions. I can provide answers to tax. I can provide answers to strategic business reporting very well, and very much in line with my area. I can provide which one can I guarantee you now? Audit. But for PM, I want to stay away from PM. I want to stay away from PM, because why am I staying away from PM? Because PM is like a shell in a shell in a shell. All right. So if I'm going to be answering the question, then it's like I have to just, it's like SFM. Let me use that word. You have to unlock something to unlock something to unlock something. And sometimes if you don't get that beginning, you might not be able to unlock it at the end. So if I want to do, I would like to teach it so that you know the beginning. So I'm not just throwing the answer to you, because I don't want to make that error where people think, oh, this is how it's done. No, it's always not how it is done, depending on certain circumstances. So PM and SFM, they have those attributes. So you need to unlock the foundation so that you can then build on it. So that's why, except if you're good already with the foundation, you just want clarity, why not? But if you're not good with the foundation, you will have to sit through and understand the foundation, so that you're not be making the wrong assumptions, and be thinking this is why they are doing it. All right. How do you practicalize with what you learned, even if you are not in practice? I believe that's what you're saying. See, let me debunk something, right? Because I know a lot of persons are thinking that because they are not yet working as an accountant, they are at disadvantage. No, you are not. No, you're not. We've had tons of undergrad, or I'm not talking of NYC, undergrad students that probably did internship where they didn't do anything serious. So not like they had any work experience. We've had tons of undergrad that are chartered accountant. I just mentioned there's an 18-year-old student in my class, 18-year-old economics 300 level. Please, what does she have as practical experience? What does she have? What I mean is, she has not worked as an accountant, all right? So, but this girl passed her skills, and in fact, ATS 1 to professionals, she never failed anyone. She passed all of them, right? Okay, well, let's say maybe she's exceptional. I've also had students that's maybe not as, maybe you say they're not geniuses, right? These are students that will work really, really hard. They also don't have practical experience, and yet they've passed this examination. So please, don't let practical experience be the reason why you won't know. There are 2 things to ICAN exam. Maybe later we'll be talking about that. There's the technical part of ICAN exams, and there's also the academic part of ICAN exams. You hear stories where somebody will tell you, I'm an audit I work as an auditor, yet I failed audit. I don't know if you've heard such, a lot of stories like that. Somebody that practices audit and still failed audit. I don't know if anybody can be a witness. If you heard such story, just give emojis so that people can confirm what I'm saying. So they've they work as auditors and then they failed audit A, and you're wondering, how did that happen? Yes. How did that happen? It happened because there's an academic part of writing examinations. So you can know the technical part, but there's an academic part. The academic part is how you present your answer. Somebody mentioned marking scheme. Let me not lie to you. It's like our Bible. You can't be marking 100 and something scripts, right? 200 scripts. You want to have a pattern in which you're marking, because somebody's going to call you if you mark wrongly. Somebody's going to call you back and tell you you've marked wrongly. So you want to maintain a pattern, and that pattern is a marking scheme. And that marking scheme has been given even before they started marking. The people that set the question had set the marking scheme, and they've given it to examiners that didn't set the questions to mark. The examiner do not have any rights, to now begin to mark 100% outside of the marking scheme. They have to mark within the marking scheme, then they can now take note of other things that may not be in the marking scheme, but somehow they are still related to the marking scheme. What I mean is, the final answer might be 5, the marking scheme says 5, but the student or the person or the candidate had written how to get a 5. Yes, examiners will mark that. Even though you didn't get 5, you got 4, but you wrote, we saw your steps. Yes. Even if the marking scheme did not put a mark to that step, but they put a mark to another step, they can still give you that step because it's still within. So there's that academic part. So maybe I'll do a podcast on that and share with you. There's an academic way of writing, and a lot of times. And another thing people don't understand is you are calling information from a stressful position. Somebody mentioned strategy. If you know you can't do 5, don't do 2 in a day. If you're already, by now, you're already telling yourself 5 is not for me, 6 is not. I know somebody that wants to write 6. You already know 6 papers is not for me. 5 is not for me. That means you're that kind of person that should probably do 1 on Tuesday, 1 on Wednesday, and probably 1 on Thursday, rather than doing 2 on Tuesday alone. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So because something is saying, I cannot be stressed. I don't want to be bothered. So if you're that kind of person that you cannot really go through stress, so writing 2 exams a day is sitting for 6 hours, 30 minutes plus. That's what you're telling yourself. Are you ready to sit down for 6 hours, 30 minutes? The break in between is nothing. Don't even bank on it. It's not going to solve any problem. It's only give you water to drink and all. It's not solving any problem. And whatever it is that you've gone through before the examination, they will show. If you've been reading so well that you've not been sleeping, it will show on that 6 hours, because this time around you're going to be writing, and then you now need to recall, and then your brain needs to pick information from, because now the exam question has to now be answered based on all the things you've read. I remember there's not everything you've read that will be coming out. So I have to dissect the ones that are not coming out, focus on the ones that are coming in, and extract the right information, and not gamble, don't ramble or writing whatnot. So there are ways to that. So you don't need practical, you don't necessarily, but if you have it, it's good for you. But if you don't have it, it's not a reason to fail. When you said about examiners seeing the effort from your response, what if you try your best thinking it was the right answer? I'm trying to get that. If you try your best thinking that's why steps. See, for calculation courses, even non-calculation courses, steps matters. What I mean is, in fact, in SFM, I would tell my students, see, you may know step 1, you don't know step 2, but you know step 3, you know step 4. A lot of what we do as students is, once we do step 1, when we get to step 2 that we don't know, we give up. We give up on the entire question. No, you won't do that. You already know that question is a compulsory question, you're answering it. It's a question you've chosen, it's your best question to write. Any other question will not work. This is the one. You've taken that decision at the beginning. The next thing is, you don't know step 2, but you know step 3. Please, my dear, go ahead, jump to step 3. You don't know step 2, but you know step 4. Go ahead to step 4. That's how to show the examiner that you have something. Because when the examiner is marking, like I said, is using a marking scheme, He's not going to penalize you for step 2 you did not do. No, he won't. He's going to go straight to your step 3 and begin to mark what is familiar in step 3. That's what he's doing. He's going to step 3, pick what is familiar and is marking what is familiar in step 3. It's going to step 4, picking what is familiar and is marking what is familiar in step 4. A mark is a mark, regardless of where you earned the mark. So you do not give up and you don't go lazy. That's why you have to be strong on that examination day. You have to be strong on examination day. All right, I think I've been able to answer all of the questions. Thank you very much. So we'll talk in our community. Bye. Good night, everyone. Good night.